So I thought I would give you a close-up view of my Pocket TN and the building of it. I have a mix of a few different scripture prompts from different months, and they're not all here, so that's the fun part of it. You can use the ones you really love and hold on to the rest. So I'm gonna go over to the current month, which is November, and this you may have already seen. So what basically I'm doing, just to kind of give you a idea, if you're printing out sheets for your pocket and you want the pattern to stay consistent to the size, you can do what I did here, which is print 4-on-1 sheet. And you're gonna have to play around with your printer settings. I won't be able to talk you through it simply because there's different printers, different settings. So just play around with your settings. Don't hit print, but search for somewhere where it says to print 2 on one page, 4 on one page, 6 on one page, and that's in your preferences. Here's another one. This sheet, normally this entire sunburst would fill up a full sheet. So if I'm cutting a little piece out, it's only going to show a small portion of the entire sheet. But when you do a print on 4, you get the full scale of that gorgeous artwork, and then you can use it in your pocket. So this one is the grid, or the gingham, the gingham back. What I did was the journaling cards that are the tall journaling cards, I've already cut them up. But if you go back and look at your printables, you'll see that this one is actually a long sheet. Maybe it's here. No, it's not there. Anyway, I wasn't ready. So I just cut the sheet in half and use it as my center. So now I can go in and add my scripture prompts. Another fun tip that you can do if you want to save paper, if you have a limited supply of sticker sheets, what you can do is once you've printed, and by the way, I also print 2-on-1 sheet for the flowers, because I tend to use a lot more smaller scaled than larger. So just go ahead and do that. So with a lot of the patterns and the flowers, when they print big like this, because you know now we have a huge sheet of larger flowers, which I love, you can still use half of it and save the other half. So this is a white sticker. And so what you'll do is you'll do your fussy cutting around the entire solid flower, and then you can go and slice it in half and use it for a double layout like I did here. So that's another fun way that you can preserve your ink, preserve your paper, and still use as much product as you would love. Here's another idea. I again did the 4-on-1 sheet. So this entire pattern is now cut down of the pattern paper, and then I also sliced, this one is sliced vertically, the other one was sliced horizontally. So you can see you have that same effect where you're using just one flower cluster, but you can use it on 2 different pages. And you can do the same thing with your planners. You can do the same thing with pretty much anything you use flowers for. Now this one was pretty fun to build because here I kind of have like a whole top cluster, and it's starting off on the top upper left. And let me pick it up so you can see what I mean. So it starts off at the top upper left, and then it works its way down to more of the center right. So you you're building out a page that's got some dimension. Not only, you know, is there stitching to it, as you can see, I ran it through my sewing machine, but also you have some movement going on. So it starts off at the top and then it goes downward. So you can play around with that. And also what I did here was I used one flower cluster, but I split it down the middle and added it to the center of the page. This way there's no bulking happening in there or lifting. Okay, so that's a fun little tip. Also, this one I did some stamping behind. So on the plain page, I did some background stamping. And then I added some spritzes, as you can see, to the back. And then I used some journaling paper to cover up that stamping. And then I built some layers. So here you'll see hexagon clusters with my prompt. On this side, you'll see a little TN, the ticket with the prompt, more hexies. And I doodled because this is just a fun mixed media page. And it's okay if it's messy. Look at, if you zoom in close, you can see how messy and scribbly it is. That's really the fun of playing with, you know, product, is you can just do whatever you love, you know. And here I did some messy stitching. That stitching was done on purpose. I love a messy stitch. And I only did it at the bottom just so it kind of makes it more grounded on my page. And it also, it just adds a little bit of fun interest. My favorite is, and let me bypass, well, this was my favorite too. So here I took those tabs and I stapled these messy strands here. This is the roll that I use. I always go for this one. This one is at Hobby Lobby. That's the item number. If you're ever curious to pick it up, that's the item number, and it's $2.99. And sometimes these go on sale, and also you can always use a coupon if you know, if you want to save $1 or whatever. So I like to roll it on my finger and then adhere it to the piece that I'm gonna staple it, and then just staple it on. And that's just my favorite fun little touch to do. So here I added some grid. So this grid is actually Project Life journal cards, and I just cut off the rounded edges. I sharpened it up a bit so that it lines up with the actual TN. Okay. And then here's my favorite, the last one. I created some library pockets. Okay, and again, the same technique. I split the flower in half. I added my prompts. I backed it up with patterned paper, 4-on-1 sheet. And then I lined the inside of the pocket with patterned paper. And then I decorated my library card, super messy. Because she was tall, even though I printed 2-on-1 sheet, I had to cut off her feet, and that's fine. We're not worried about her shoes, really. I wanted more of the focus to be on this little messy cluster at the top there. And again, just wrap it on your fingers, roll it around in your palm, and just put it on the card and staple. Like, it's fun. It's really just fun. These are labels that they are actually the long labels. So as you can see, I just folded it in half, and now it became my little tag pull for this project. I'm sorry, I'm filming one-handed. And then here's the other side. I made sure that I used the two that matched closely. They're not exactly the same. If you look at your printables, they are not exactly the same, but they have a very similar color theme going on. And just to show you, this is the sheet I used. So this one's called your snippets. So right up here, these are the two pieces I cut out for that. And so I trimmed out the edges, and then I folded it in half and stapled down with a messy string. And here's the other card. And again, I had to cut off a little bit of the end of her legs. This girl, she actually didn't have shoes, so it worked out perfectly. I wasn't really cutting out much there. And then the back is plain because I'm going to add my Bible verse. So that is pretty much everything on this pocket book. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a little bit on how to build your pages. And if you have any questions, certainly leave me a comment below, or send me a message. I'll be happy to answer that for you. Bye, guys.